Welcome to the Red Dirt Film Podcast with Marisa
and Damon. Each week we let you in on what's happening in the film world
and review a film, including interviews, contests, and more.
Hello, Red Dirt community.
I bet that was loud. You had that close to your face.
Are you going to say hello?
Hello. Hi, Damon. Welcome to the podcast today. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Fresh off this trip we made to Austin, Texas for the Austin Revolution Film Festival, hosted by James Christopher.
We had a great time. We met a lot of really talented people. People were really friendly. I always like a film festival where the networking is a big part of it. So this was fun for me.
Yes, I quite agree. We saw, out of all the festivals we've attended, I would have to say we saw the most solid films represented. Really great selection of films. And fortunately, a lot of the people who were creatively involved in these movies were on hand to talk to.
Yes, it was great.
And the location meant that we got up close and personal to these people because it's all in a single hallway and lobby and bar area. And
it was nice.
It was wonderful to be able to run into so many people involved.
Yeah, it was really good. I told you, and I think that the films that I saw here had some of the best acting across the board that I've seen. So I'm excited to kind of talk about this. Today we are mixing things up. Usually we kind of do movie news and then we do a review of a film. But today we're going to talk about some of these indie films that we saw and particularly liked at Austin Revolution Film Fest this weekend. So we should just jump right into it.
Yeah, so let's go.
All right, let's talk about Cosmico.
Cosmico was rather wonderful. It's a perfect palate cleanser.
It's an animated film by C.J. Lazzaretti, and he did the whole thing himself. He did everything. So it actually won Best Animated Film. So what do you think of perfect palate cleanser? What do you mean?
Well, it reminded me and this is not taking away from it, because all films pay homage to other films, whether they even know it or not. It reminded me a lot of Terry Gilliam's animations for the classic Monty Python television series. And those were interstitial cartoons that would show up between sketches to basically cleanse the palate for the next thing coming along. Mm-hmm. They were very surreal. Yeah. Very... what's the word? Not blasphemous, but
kind of irreverent.
Irreverent.
Yeah.
And
but they poke fun in a way that makes you think, and it's not really mean-spirited.
Yes. All of Terry Gilliam's Monty Python animations were always they did just that. They would often take on topics that would force you to consider some things, and the way that CJ handled this, and hearing him talk about this film, and knowing that he composed this thing almost entirely within Photoshop, was really amazing.
Yes.
He was a one-person crew. He did the sounds. There was no dialogue, but it was lots of and a lot of enunciations.
Yes.
It was all part of his work on the film.
Anyway, great job, CJ. Yes. We really liked Cosmico. So if you get a chance to check that out, as we go through these, really we're putting this out there so you will go find their websites, like them on Facebook, and kind of follow them. Hopefully some of them will be playing near you. So okay, let's talk about Born Again. Damon loved this film. It's a horror comedy, and it was written and directed, co-written and directed by Jason Tosteven, who we think is a great guy. And Randall Greenland also was a writer and an actor. He won the Best Actor in a Short Film. And then Brian Spangler acted in it too, and we got to meet all of them, and that was really fun.
Marisa, can I just say, out of all the films we saw, my favorite was Born Again.
Was it?
It was.
I really liked it.
Do you remember what I said to you before Born Again even played?
No.
We were sitting in the drive-in theater where this particular film played, along with a batch of others that preceded it, but there's a whole history of Satan-sploitation films at the drive-in. And I remember we saw a few horror shorts, and I turned to Marisa and I said, "Oh, I hope this one has Satanists in it because it just felt right for the moment." And sure enough, Born Again turned out to be a comedy about Satanists.
Well, the worst
hilarious.
Satanist ever is
Worst
the tagline.
Satanist ever, yes.
So funny, so clever.
So if you could imagine Eyes Wide Shut, the big orgy scene within that film, and if it had a really inept member the whole time, not the Tom Cruise character who's just awkward because he doesn't know what's going on, but if you had someone who was really invested in that whole Illuminati group who was really fudging things up along the way, that's what you would get with this film. Wonderful, great humor.
Yeah, it was very good. Okay, Funeral Day. Funeral Day was, it won Best Director for a feature at this fest. And John Weinberg directed and was the lead actor in it.
It was a huge success. It was a packed room. Everyone cheered. People were laughing the whole time. It really engaged people. Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to say about it?
What I really like about it is I don't like funerals. So when he said, I'm not going, when his friend died, he said, I'm not going. I don't want to go. That's how I always feel. And then his friend is there saying, but you need to go. This isn't about you. And this sort of dynamic plays out where he's like, I want to be a better person to honor this memory of this friend that passed. And I'm going to do it in the next 5 hours. By the time you're done with the funeral, I'm going to have a different life. And so...
5.5.
So yes, it was 5.5. Oh, for heaven's sakes, you would. 5.5 hours. My heavens. Yeah, he calculates the time out to figure out. Anyway, I liked... it was very raw in some places and a little bit uncomfortable, I think. There's a lot of references to male anatomy. But I don't know. I liked his quirky personality. And I thought that John did a great job acting in it.
Yeah, it was, what I appreciated the most was the quirky supporting characters. If you like films like Napoleon Dynamite, or what's the other one? Oh, you're not gonna know this.
Oh, thanks.
the other. Well, let's just say the other films by. Yeah.
It'll come to you.
It'll come to me later.
It will.
It's not coming to me. Jared Hess. His films, the way he has quirky characters and kind of we're dealing with a universe where everyone in the film is a quirky character. That's what Funeral Day reminded me of. Yeah. So
Good
I appreciated that the most.
Check out Funeral Day. Okay, and then the best micro short comedy actually was How a Man Gets Ready. And this was directed by Romina Schwedler. And it was really short, of course, micro comedy. And you see a woman getting all ready for her date, and she's going through all this stuff and clothes, and then this man who just looks really nasty, he's just sitting there eating Cheetos or whatever, watching TV, and he gets ready in like 2 seconds and just looks fabulous. Wasn't this a funny one?
It was funny.
It was just kind of a quick little fun thing to be like, women really go through a lot, and then men just hardly do anything.
Yeah, see, I kind of took offense to the concept of this story. When I read the synopsis, I thought, oh, here we go again, because this is one of my pet peeves, the whole distinctions of gender and what a man does or does not do, because I find it wildly inaccurate in a lot of ways. However, when I saw the film, I could not help from laughing. It was very well done.
It was funny. Okay, Howl of a Good Time won the Best Horror Short, directed by Patrick Rea. We really liked this. This was kind of a fun film. You said it reminded you of the 80s. Oh, yeah.
It had to have been a complete and total 1980s horror send-up. You could have had... Boy, I'm really bad with names today, aren't I?
You have a lot of names in your head all the time.
Oh, I'm so close. We're not going with it. Okay. I'll remember it after we're done. Anyway, Leslie Easterbrook stars in this film. I shouldn't say star. She's not a... She's one of the main characters, but not a protagonist by any means. Anyway, she was in The Devil's Rejects, the great Rob Zombie film, as well as many other wonderful films. She, we're not going to give anything away, but if you like 80s horror, this would be right up your alley.
Yeah.
Think about films like the Twilight Zone movie from 1985, directed by John Landis, or the Creepshow film by George Romero in 1983. A lot of films like that, if you love that style of horror with a little twinge of comedy to it, you'll really like this.
Yeah. All right. Check out Howl of a Good Time. Howl, Howl. Okay, Sketches. I really liked this. This was different from anything I've seen, and I always like when something takes me by surprise a little bit. It was sweet, and there was no dialogue, right?
Blessedly. Oh, yeah.
Okay. But there wasn't, right? Like, I'm remembering it correctly.
Yes.
You watch this all play out. It was directed by Savannah Rogers, and Ashley Kennedy and Laurie Catherine Winkle were the two actresses in it. And it was just them.
Yep.
It won Best Micro Short Romance. It was endearing.
Yes.
But it's very aptly named because the art in it really takes you from one scene to the next. And I really liked how it just flowed with the art.
Yeah. It's a very poignant story and told visually. And when I said blessedly, and you know this about me, there is too much talking in everything. Television shows, movies.
Oh, really?
Chat.
Endless talking here at Red Dirt Film Podcast.
Outside of 1930s screwball comedies, where dialogue was the driving force, we don't need so much talking constant. Like, I love sustained moments. 20 minutes of no dialogue. The opening of There Will Be Blood, most of the movie Castaway, a lot of the Italian films of the 70s. Mood and atmosphere is king for me.
Well, and if you do a good job, then you will know what's going on.
You don't notice an absence of dialogue.
That's why I just said there wasn't talking, right? Because I can remember what happened so well.
If a filmmaker is really doing their job, telling a visual story, and I was taught this in film school, if you will take any great film, put it on mute. Watch the entire 2 hours with no sound. And it should be, of course, something you have not seen before. You should be able to understand to a T exactly what the character is going through, their geography, what's going on. Now, sound, of course, is important. A lot of times it's argued it's 50-50 of the experience. But there is too much dialogue in movies these days, and so I really appreciated the way that art was used, sketches that a particular character created in this to define a relationship. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
kudos, Savannah. So yeah,
good job. Okay, let's talk about Alter. So Alter, directed by Matthew Sconce.
Yes.
It won the Best Horror Feature, which, of course, we didn't know it was going to win when we went to see it. And then Stephanie Estes won Best Actress in this. But Matthew, we talked to for a little while and told him how much we appreciated this film.
Loved it.
So this isn't my normal. It was a late night, like 11:30 showing after the.
We were ready for bed.
We were tired. It had been a long day, but we really wanted to check this out. And I went up to Matthew before the film and I said, okay, how scary is this? Because I don't like to be super scared. I like good writing, but I don't want to be terrified and see torture and stuff. So I went and I asked, and he goes, no, and he kind of explained, well, so it was found footage. Do you want to explain a little bit?
Yeah, there was a lot of buzz about this film, and that's the thing that we decided, okay, rather than going to sleep like we're being pulled to do, let's go ahead and just try this out. Found footage, of course, Blair Witch was the defining film that really kicked off that genre, even though the last broadcast can really take credit. And as a follow-up to that, I want to retrace my steps on an earlier podcast where I was talking about positive buzz on the Blair Witch sequel that just recently came out 2 weekends ago. Bad reviews across the board now.
We're going to have to watch it and see what you think.
Apparently it has had some good buzz early on, but when it officially came out, it's being poorly received. But the point of me saying that is to point out that this film, yeah, if you've even been thinking about perhaps going to see the Blair Witch remake, I would instead rather seek out this film. Whatever local festival it's playing at, try to find a way to see this movie, because if you are in any way a fan of the found footage genre, subgenre,
which I'm not normally a fan of, but this, you really felt like you were there.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The acting was so good that it seemed like I've never seen acting that good.
Yeah.
All of them, every single character, they just worked together so well that it drew you into the story, and there was the fun, times where you jumped in it, and the story's good, and you're figuring things out, and then at the end you're like, oh, that's what's happening, and it's fun as a thriller. I would call it more really thriller than horror, but I really enjoyed it. So good job, Matthew Sconce. We really liked it. Check out Alter, and yeah, you'll love it.
It's very unique. It has a really nice spin on things, and there is a website called, I think it's called foundfootagefilms.com, and they are kind of the repository for reviewing all found footage films that come out at any given time, and they actually had this to say about Alter. I'm just paraphrasing here, but basically they said, this is the one to catch this year.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about From Here. From Here is a short film, and we got to meet two of the two main people, Adam Finley and Roxana Kay. And
I never remember that title at all.
From Here. Oh.
Just no. You say the director and the actress's name, I immediately. Oh,
and
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
That title does not stick with me for whatever reason, but it's a wonderful film.
Because it's about moving on from here.
Yes.
I like the point of it. So Adam they both did a lot. I'm not going to get it right. So and so, I think he edited and helped produce and directed, and Roxana did a whole bunch of that stuff too, produced, and she acted.
Yes.
She's the main actress.
It's a beautiful film.
She did a great job. Both of them did.
They are two very, very talented filmmakers.
They are. We were excited to talk to them and meet them, and then be able to be there at the Q&A and hear them talk about why they did this. And it was a true story. And I don't want to give anything away, but it really kind of pulls at your heartstrings. Good short film. It was one of those films I didn't think went too long. They did a good job with the timing of it.
Yeah,
I
pacing
never
was
felt
great.
like this is taking forever. Yeah, the pacing was very well done. The acting was good. True story. Get your heartstrings. Kind of gives you hope at the end, which I like. I like being happy at the end.
Yeah.
So check out From Here. Really, really good film.
Yeah. Yeah, I highly recommend that one as well.
And if you want a laugh, check out Anonymous. This film.
Yeah.
I love the premise of this film. We met Chris Thompson, who is the writer, Brian Kobos, who is one of the actors, and also Diana Rose, who is one of the actors. We were able to meet them and talk to them for a few minutes, which was fun.
Yeah.
But, you hear about this anonymous and that anonymous group, that AA and all of these things, and this is Anonymous. And do you want to say anything specific?
Yeah, so picture one of these groups meeting in a school gym based on people banding together because they do very uncouth things within society, but they, it's kind of like, what's the... F My Life or Post Secret. Post Secret would be more apt to talk about. Imagine Post Secret not on the internet, but in a support group. It's people saying, I do this horrible thing all the time, and they're not saying it so much to brag as it is to just get it off their chest, but at the same time they're all supportive of each other. It's really funny.
It is funny. I just like the entire idea of it,
and Brian is an amazing... They all are. Every actor...
They did a really good job.
Wonderful dialogue.
They did this film in a week in Corpus Christi for a week,
Yes.
a week-long film race.
Contest, yes.
So, anyway, it turned out really well. We were very impressed. Check out Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about In Sickness, which was a feature film, and we love Lucas. Hey, Lucas!
Hi, Lucas!
We met Lucas, who's just fantastic, and everyone loves him. Lucas Hassel is, he won Best Actor in a Feature, actually, for this. He was...
at the Austin Revolution Festival,
yes. Well, that's what all of this is about, right?
Yes.
So, it was directed by Julius B. Kelly, and Lucas acted, and then also Nicole Vogt Lowell was the other sort of main actress in it. It's about a man with schizophrenia and sort of what they go through, and it's something. It really makes you think.
Yes, I was just going to say that. It really makes you think. One
of those films, when it ends, you sort of need to sit there for a minute and just let yourself sort of process and then sort of let it go, because there's a lot of sadness to it and a lot of frustration, but a lot of sort of hope and perseverance, I think.
Yeah, it definitely puts you in the shoes of somebody that we're not used to being in the shoes of vicariously within a film, and it gives you a lot of sympathy for
the spouse,
people going through.
too.
Yes, from every angle.
Yes,
but particularly from a spouse's point of view. What would it be like to be in a primary relationship with someone with schizophrenia, and how do you deal with it? How do you hang on to some semblance of a relationship within it?
And not knowing that in this film, and not knowing that they had that when you married them, because everything was kind of a whirlwind romance, and they're usually okay unless, something triggers it or they stop taking medication or something. So you see how vibrant and wonderful and loving he is, and you see the other side of what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely a Jekyll and Hyde story. And it could be applicable to any number of illnesses where, there is that sort of personality shift, whether it's bipolar or on and on. You could list them. It's very... It meant a lot to me personally, and I think that I'm very happy to hear that Lucas won an award for it, because his portrayal was what this entire production hinged upon. I mean, and that is saying, that is even on top of talking about the cinematography. There was a cinematographer in the audience who has done that professionally for decades, and he praised the film for having, he said it was hands down the best cinematography he had ever seen personally as a cinematographer. What was done with the budget in place, it was very stellar. And so it's definitely a film to watch out for. Yes, In Sickness is the title. It's another one I can't ever remember the title of.
There's a few things that we didn't get to see either at all or all of that we wanted to just throw a little. We saw part of a film called Loop.
Yeah.
And we came in kind of in the middle of it. And we did get to meet Jason, I think you say, is it Buterin? Jason Buterin?
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Nice guy, very talented.
Very humble guy.
He was in many things.
Very nice.
But this won the best short thriller, and I can see why, just from the part we saw.
Yeah.
We were really... There's a twist, which makes it fun.
Yeah.
It's scary, which makes it fun. So we just want to say, hey, good job on that to everyone involved in the film Loop.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can see the whole thing. We also want to give a shout out to Rough Cut 3. We have seen, Rough Cut is a web series.
Yes.
And we have seen 1 and 2, and then 3 is what just plays. So this is by The Outsiders Productions. Adam Hampton, Kenny Pitts, Jason Alexander. We saw the 3 of them there. Marcy Jackson won Best Actress for her role in Rough Cut 3. And then Adam won the Slashy Award, which I think now will be called the Adam Hampton Award or something. So, good job to you guys. Also, we met Cedric Smith, who was, you know what
he is hilarious. Yes.
Are we allowed to say that?
I'd rather us not.
We had so much fun. Cedric Smith helps at the San Antonio Film Festival, and his film won Best LGBT Film. But he and Josh Hope, who they won Best Editing for Kind of Blue, the film that they have playing there. And Josh also runs Twister Alley in Woodward and then Windy City Film Festival in Chicago. They won the Tostavin Award, named after Jason Tostavin. And anyway, it's basically Best Filmmaker of the Year award winners. So Josh Hope and Cedric Smith. Good job to you guys. That pretty much wraps up. That was a lot of films to talk about, and there were so many others we saw that were good too. But
I feel like we only saw maybe a third of what we should have, but they were pretty much...
You can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah.
And we had a good time at some panels and just talking. So thank you, Austin Revolution Film Festival, everyone for all your hard work. The volunteers were great.
Yeah.
Everybody was kind. It was fun. We were very impressed. And we look forward to seeing you guys next year. Love all the people we met. Go check out all of these indie films. And, all right. That's it for us, I think.
Like us on Facebook. Like us, or not like
Red
us, but
Dirt Film.
Join us on Twitter.
Red Dirt Film. Or what are we on Twitter? What's our handle?
Red Dirt Film Fest.
Red Dirt Film Fest. And then reddirtfilm.com. Everything is on there. So if you go to reddirtfilm.com, you can find out more than you ever wanted to know about us.
Yes. And please, 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 you guys are missing out if you have not signed up yet for the subscription to our podcast. It is not just a podcast. For $4.99 a month, you're getting not only the chance to be on one of our podcast shows discussing one of your favorite films, but we've got celebrity interviews, we've got all sorts of bonus content, bloopers. If you can imagine bloopers between Marisa and I, those are going to be some of those I don't quite want out there, but you know what? You're paying for it. So
oh dear.
If you want to hear it, $4.99 a month. I mean, isn't that what that Starbucks place charges for a cup of coffee?
Yes.
I've never understood. You can pay 30 cents
you just
elsewhere.
Call it that Starbucks
I'm being the old man railing my cane against the wall. You know, I'm used to paying 30 cents a day for a cup of coffee, and this place has the audacity to charge $5.
Place.
So for the same cost as why don't you one day go get your coffee from a Valero or someplace like that, Quick Trip, 7-Eleven, and then put the money towards hearing great content from Marisa and I.
All right.
For the cost of a cup of coffee. We sound like a child hunger network trying to... But it's true. It is. It puts it in good perspective.
What? We're hungry children? Hungry for more films.
Yes, there we go.
There we go. The
The
tagline.
banquet of film. Okay, so until next time, thank you all for listening. This is Damon
And Marisa.
with Red Dirt Film.
Bye, guys.
Ta-ta.